Hey, here we are. We're back again. Home stretch time. Bruce and Rick filling in for BKP, who's out in the community.
And they're breaking for the wire.
Yeah, here we go. Spinning out of the turn. A friend of mine down in Florida, Debbie, sent me something, and I haven't had time to fact check it.
But he wants to read it first.
But I got to share this with you because, you know, based on what you see, based on the optics of the whole thing, you'll see where it ties in. I gotta share this with you.
Everybody was wondering what she was doing.
Exactly. What was she doing back there behind the president while he's giving the speech? Most Americans didn't see what Trump did at SOTU, and you were looking right at it. Trump sent a copy of his speech to the Democrats, who immediately wrote scripts to trash his speech before the address. Schumer did that. Pelosi did that. And right after the speech address based on the copy he sent them.
Stacey Abrams.
Then he gave them a completely different speech. All the rebuttals, including Stacey Abrams. You remember we looked and we kind of scratched our head and said, what the heck was that all about?
Yeah,
all the rebuttals were 100% off base. That's why Nancy Pelosi was looking at all that paper during Trump's speech, because she realized she got sandbagged by the master. Trump didn't put it in his copy given the Democrats anything about Buzz Aldrin, the cancer child, the ICE agent, the military men, the ones everybody applauded, because he knew they were geared up based on his original speech, never to stand and applaud no matter what he said. But to not clap for those heroes showed them as evil. Then he pointed out that the ladies in white took 58% of the seats, Then he pointed out the ladies took 58% of the seats in D.C., and all the libtards in white stood up. And remember what Trump said? Hey, you weren't supposed to stand during that, remember? Now social media is killing the Democrats for only standing up for themselves and not anything else to help the president. Well played, Mr. President. Again, fully transparent. I haven't fact-checked that. I think it would be brilliant. I wouldn't put it past him if he did that. And based on all the optics that you see with Nancy going, this isn't what I read to begin with. I think she was...
She had just, she lost so much in her, her jawbone, grinding that whole speech. I mean, it was just incredible the way she was nibbling on whatever. But it was an interesting play if it worked out that way.
Yeah, my brother, I've said this before. My brother sent me something. He's somewhat apolitical, even though he's a right-leaning voter. He sent me something the next day. He lives up in Illinois, and he sent me something the next day saying, knowing that Stacey Abrams was from Georgia. He said, what was that deal? Is that the best they got? And who are all those women? And I told Josh about this, and Josh sent me a brilliant little clip, which if you'll put that up, Josh, I think it's really, really cool. The magic of television and how you see in the top pose, it looks like there's a room of 6,500 people back there. All these women standing for Stacey. But when you pull away through the magic of TV, you see her there standing on a podium, and they've got these shills back there. Probably isn't more than 15, 20 of them.
29, I counted.
Is that right? They're all huddled together in this tight mass, looking affectionately on as she gives her rebuttal that made absolutely no sense to what the president said.
It was like a campaign stump speech for her.
Yeah.
It was just utterly off the mark.
And, in keeping with that theme of the magic of television, here I go. You got Nancy Pelosi. Put that clip up, Josh, showing this fake clap standing behind the president, even though she had absolutely no idea where she was within. Is that coming up, Josh? Put the video up of Nancy doing her little fake clap routine.
But we must reject the politics of revenge, resistance, and retribution, and embrace the boundless potential of cooperation, compromise, and the common good.
There's that little smirky fake clap that she reprised at the down in L.A. with her big donor girlfriends in at the beginning for the Grammy Gala. You know, she reprised that little fake clap again. Well, you know, through the magic of television, we wanted to bring for you, the FYN viewers, what that really looked like behind the scenes. Josh, you've got that?
She's been coached.
Yeah, she's been coached. Woohoo! Yep. That's where she got her cue from, folks. I love it. Anyway, Josh, thank you. We just had to get a little levity in there and poke fun at our speaker and how she got sandbagged, folks.
Oh, boy.
Don't you just hope that that's for real?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, what do you got?
I just got a few little, like, interesting factoids. You know, I occasionally come up with these crazy things. So, here's an interesting one. That according to the American Road and Transportation Builders Association, nearly 56,000 bridges in the U.S. are considered structurally deficient. I don't want to, you know, frighten anybody driving over a bridge today, but yeah, there's a lot of infrastructure out there that needs to be worked on, and I do believe there will be a bipartisan effort to get a bunch of money to do that later this year.
Yeah.
What else did I want to say?
Let's give a shout out to part of the FYN TV Fedra News staff, Natalie Kissel, in some local coverage that Natalie has put out there. Natalie and Brian combined on the murder case, the unfortunate murder case that's going on right now in Fannin County. Fedra News, folks, was on it before anybody else. They had the facts correct before anybody else, before the newspapers, before any of the other local media. And Natalie did a great job. She's got a great piece on there. If you want to check out the Fedra News website, Natalie did a magnificent job, along with Brian's help, of covering that entire court case, all the way from arrest to current. So shout out to those two.
Here's another one. Today, 1 million Americans are living in their RVs, and the number's growing each year. Think about that when you pass Walmart. And there was one more. Almost 1/3 of all the land in the U.S. is owned by the federal government.
There you go.
Yeah.
A lot of it empty buildings.
Hey,
you know,
they got to be torn down, rehabilitated, and, you know.
Oh yeah, that was part of the thing that we didn't cover earlier,
Back to
right?
the green plan.
Brian Kemp came out yesterday, and part of his initiative is to support the Apex initiative here in Georgia at the education level. He is putting in, I can't remember how many $28 million to try to, the end game would be to put a counselor in every high school in the state of Georgia to handle the ever-growing concern of mental health. And I'm not talking about, you know, I'm talking about depression, opioid addiction, and how to be able to recognize the signs of these young people that continually are found to be in distress, how the current counselors that are in place can recognize it, how teachers can recognize it, and how we as a state can recognize it and try to do something about it. So I haven't looked at the details of that, but it came out. I think it came out this morning, and it's getting a lot of press.
What do you think about the El Paso rally? Give me your thoughts on that one.
I should be a fire inspector on the wall that gives the right numbers, huh?
Really?
You know, they referred to it as the two mega rallies. I don't know if you could couch it as a mega rally on the Beto. What's his first name? Francis?
Robert Francis.
Francis.
But Beto for...
Francis, yeah. Francis the Lying Fool. Isn't there
Francis the Mule.
Talking Mule?
The Talking Mule.
Anyway, sorry, I digress. Anyway, I think the fire marshal came out and said the building only holds 6,500. The way it was configured with all the people standing in the center, you know, probably 7,500, 8,000 people.
Yeah, and Trump said they squeezed in, what, 10? It was supposed to be 8, and he squeezed in 10.
I mean, okay, so, you know, let's call a spade a shovel. Whatever it was. But the telling thing was Laura Ingraham.
Outside.
Laura Ingraham was there and did a great Q&A with the president, and her crew was out there in the audience, outside. And keep in mind, folks, as Brian has said many times, these people line up because when they have these rallies, it's first come, first serve. So if you're not at the first of the line, if you're not the first 6,500, 7,500, whatever the number is, to get inside, you don't get in.
Yeah.
But they still want to hear it, and it's being broadcast outside. Excuse me.
They have big screens outside.
Yeah, so you got all these people outside, and they estimated that number to be 10 to 12,000 more people. So taken with the people inside, you got a 20,000 strong that are there. And what did they ever come up with Beto? It's about 4,000?
4 to 5,000, I think.
4 to 5,000, and they said that the majority of those people were from out of state.
Oh, gee, what a shock.
Yeah, I mean, they were all the supporters the last time. All that California money came in again. A lot of California support came in.
And I don't know if you saw the clip, they had a sort of a Trump pinata at the Beto
No, I didn't
thing.
see
Yeah, and so he was very low, so everybody was just whacking away at him. And yeah, it was pretty indicative of just the way they roll. So it's sad, very sad.
Yeah. What was I going to say about? Oh, I watched part of Laura's show last night, and she referenced a lot of the one-on-one and the interesting perspective. And I saw this on Fox and Friends as well. They went out into the community morning after. She talked about it from film clips because she was there real time. What was amazing is the amount of Hispanic people within that audience that are supporting Trump and supporting his Build the Wall initiative. They live in El Paso. They don't want to be in Juarez. 2,300 people killed in Juarez the year before. Murder in the streets. And there were a matter of 20-some.
Yeah, I think 23 or 26.
In El Paso. 23 maybe high, 2,300 maybe high, 1,700. Anyway, the disparity was off the chart.
Yeah, and again, I saw something on Fox and Friends the next morning where the Todd Pirro, I think, was interviewing in the restaurant.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they, fair and balanced, they had a couple of the wait staff who basically were against Trump. They didn't like his treatment of immigrants and things like that. So, but then a lot of the people that were eating there, were definitely pro-Trump and
they were and Hispanic.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there was a guy that I remember the thing specifically. He was very passionate. He's fourth generation Hispanic.
But yeah, but we have friends that have come from Cuba. And I mean, they have gone through the system, and they are very, very upset, resentful of all this stuff about people just coming in, open borders. I said, why? Why? No other country does this, that just lets people in willy-nilly in the numbers that we're talking about for this country.
That was a great point. We had we were fortunate enough to be invited over to some friend's house the other night for a dinner party. And this lady who she is a true Cuban immigrant. She came to this country with nothing, with her parents. They settled in Texas, did she say?
I believe you're right.
Texas. She and her two sisters and her parents. She's now educated, very successful, very, very in tune with what's going on. And it is amazing to listen to a person who's gone through a socialist regime, been subjected to it, have things taken away from them. So much so that they couldn't live, they couldn't eat, they had to leave. And to immigrate to another country legally. And her perspective is such that she says, I just don't understand the thought process that the American people go through and how they're so against the immigration and the border security. She said, folks, I've been there, I've seen it, I've done it. And that's why I pay such close attention to it. And I'm passionate about the fact that if you've been there on the other side, and fortunately we haven't, but I think we get it. She said it's mind-boggling to her. Wasn't that was a really cool exercise to listen to her passion.
And she's a very passionate, hardworking. You know, she is the epitome of hardworking.
Yeah.
And as she said, you live in that sort of controlled system, you know, where everything is controlled. You have neighbors spying on neighbors, you know, if they're not pulling the party line. And to just throw the borders open and have people come in willy-nilly is just really diluting the American spirit. It's against the American Constitution, and we definitely shouldn't stand for it.
And the way the conversation came about is, you know, she's first generation. She gets it. Her sister's kids, her nieces, second generation.
Yeah.
And they are totally off the other side and can't understand why in the world we be so dispassionate as to not have open borders and let these people in and let them start taking advantage of our education system, our medical system, our welfare system, and basically, you know, get on the government teat.
Yeah, and I just give you a little anecdote about socialism. When I lived in Europe, I was able to go to Berlin while the wall was still up. So this was in the early 80s. And went through Checkpoint Charlie and all that, and went into East Germany and toured around and saw everything there. Again, very militaristic, a lot of military and police everywhere. And we went into a little shop, and, you know, sort of souvenir sort of thing. And, you know, I saw a little pin or something that I wanted. I said, okay, I'll take that. And the lady looked at me and said, no, you can't take that. And I go, why not? She says, because it's the last one. If we take that, we won't have anything else to exhibit. I'm going, are you selling, or are you just like, you know,
are you
doing
display
show
case?
here? It just sums up that mindset there that, you know, things can only be given to you if there's something else to back it up, and everything is controlled, and they didn't have a very open mentality. So.
I might not get any more.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it's been a fun hour and 40 minutes or so, hour and 30 minutes. Appreciate Josh. I would be remiss if I didn't point out the fact that pitchers and catchers, I'm a big baseball fan, the Cub fan here, pitchers and catchers report, and to that end, I wanted to kind of show you a little picture of my grandsons, my 4-year-old grandsons and my son. Pitchers and catchers report, and that's a great picture of Americana going to the ball field, folks. They're heading to the ball field. Big T-ball practice, and they're having a ball. So anyway, Bruce and I are glad to be with you. We've run just a few seconds over from Josh. We are going to be with you again on Friday. Jane's back from vacation, so she'll be with us. Ask the Doc segment, and we'll be at beautiful Circuit World. So make sure you tune in every morning. But look forward to seeing you on Friday. And shout out to my buddies Ross and to Debbie out there. And
is Judy watching today?
I don't know if Judy and Howard are watching or not, but we enjoyed being with you folks, and we are out. Oh, sorry. What you got there, brother? Oh, okay.
Announcing again that
Valentine's Day giveaway winner, Barbara Steiner Jonathan. Her song, the winning song, You're Still the One, Shania Twain. Come by today, get a hold of Fetch Your News. Come by to get your prize package of over more than $200 worth of gifts and from merchants and vendors around the 2-county area here. So with that, we're gone.